That was wonderful. Actually, and again, I got to say, like a year plus ago, Dan was in touch with me about these reunion shows, and no, not that. Yeah, Dan wrote me the first messenger message about it, saying, "Hey, they're getting paid for these reunion shows." I'm like, "Are you kidding? People are still watching this stuff. Why would they want to see us old people? It's super funny to me." But he's like, "Oh, I'm serious." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll believe it when I see the contract." You know what I mean? And then because I don't even watch TV. I don't even own a TV.
Yeah.
So I just watch movies all day, or go to the theater. I love the theater, and I'm really involved in that stuff. But then several months later, I get a call. I touch down in LAX, and I get a message from Cynthia on my voicemail saying, "Hey Joe." Like all professional, and I know I'd probably just seen Cynthia in person, and her and I are really friendly. We don't see each other a lot, but again, super really friendly, great friend. And she's like, "Joe, I have something to discuss with you. Is there a time when I could call you back?" Like she wants to set up a meeting for me, and she's talking about how the cast decided that she would be the one best to call me to convince me to do a reunion show, because they all want to do it. And I'm like, hey, how can I say no to what I can't stop something from happening that you guys really want to happen. So of course, I'm happy to participate, but I'm not gonna talk to producers and directors and stuff. That's what agents and managers are for. If it's real and it's legit, let me know. and I haven't heard anything since. And Mike, Cynthia, Dan, they seem to be digging deep as they can with friends they know that are producers or whatever, and part of that show reunion.
So Mike's on board for it as well.
He seems like the point guy that knows about everybody who is or isn't in.
Because I had Flora on here a couple months ago. She's down for it. Seems like all you guys, in some way,
Mike's
shape, or form are into this.
Yeah, because my man, it's a paycheck that's not anything like they were used to, or we experienced. Really not cool back in the day. They really took advantage of reality TV, still take advantage of reality TV talent, through super terrible contracts that no one on TV should ever sign, but every 20 something or young generation person will sign because they just want the fame and the popularity that a show like that brings, without knowing what that fame and popularity actually bring. So
they just pumped out 3 seasons of
I know
called
nothing about
Real World Homecoming Reunions. They just finished up the third one now, and right now Miami's like the hot thing on the market. Everybody's like, this is what's going to be the next one. So this is an appropriate conversation to probably be having right now.
That's just straight up shocking to me. Cool, whatever. I'm ready. I'm healthy. And I'd be happy to do it. But until I see a contract, or until my agent, my lawyer see a contract, it's nothing. It's just talk. And even though they did do these things, and it appears, like when I sat down with Mike, you're right. I sat down with Mike a couple months ago. And he seemed to know everything about it, like 8 episodes, this amount per episode. We're just talking and answering questions. I'm like, who wouldn't do that? I mean, it's like a little reunion of people that I haven't seen in a long period of time. Some I've seen here and there, but we're a big part of my life. Why wouldn't I want to be a part of that? It could be fun, as long as it's not stupid. I don't know how or what audience is watching that, to be honest with you, but hey, give them whatever they want. I'm happy to do that. If it's the Miami cast, why wouldn't I do that? I'm so curious if it actually will happen.
Yeah,
but I'm not in a rush, and I would definitely bring my doggy. They better let me bring.
Time will tell. We'll see. well, listen. I think a lot of people. I mean, I know you're not necessarily chomping at the bit for it, but I think a lot of people would like to see some of your guys' life stories played out again on this reunion show. Was it only Mike that was that you talked to about this, or as far as you
No,
know?
no.
Uh,
Dan is totally Dan's the original guy who got in touch with me on Messenger a year ago almost about when he heard about it happening, and with other casts and
mhm.
saying that our cast is coming up. And I'm like, yeah, man. I didn't believe him. I'll be honest. I didn't believe him back then, but he was on top of it. And I'm like, okay, man, cool. Like, if that's true, great. Whatever. Let's see what happens. And then months and months later, almost a year later, like I said, he was in touch again. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about it. I don't have Paramount Plus. I'm not watching it. I'm not getting ads on my feed about it. And I'm but then Cynthia was in touch, like I said, uh, and then the producer was actually in touch with me
Oh
via
wow!
email. Yeah,
So
via
there's been
email.
feelers thrown out then by
Yeah, yeah,
producers.
yeah, 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 yeah. So that was again months ago, uh, and uh, and that's exactly what it was. Feelers to see if the cast wanted to be what the entire cast was willing to participate, and uh, and I said, sure, I'm willing to participate, but just send the contract to this person. Again, my lawyer, my agent, my manager. That's normal procedure, man. There's no reason I need to have a conversation.
Cynthia, Dan, Mike, Flora, and you seem to be all for it. Like, has it been discussed that everybody's on down, or is
Yeah,
everybody on board?
yeah. If you talk to Mike, I don't see how you can't get a hold of Mike. Mike seems to be in touch with everybody because Mike is really gung ho about this, and across the board, he got a hold of everybody who you didn't name, and they're all interested. So he even had like a date where they'd probably consider us coming out wherever that is. I don't know if they're filming it. He seems to believe they're filming them at the same locations as they were in the
They
past.
were. Hmm.
Yeah, so that's nearly impossible for our season to do that. I went back to that house, I think, about a year or so ago, because again, I travel a lot, and I was in
Well, I think
Miami.
what happened was it's the same city, but I think New York and LA were the first two, and they had
Mhm.
the same exact house. And then for the third homecoming that just ended was the New Orleans season. They didn't have the same house still there, but they still shot it in New Orleans, just in a different house.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's what will have to happen with us because if you don't, did the color change? Uh, Peter Thiel owns our house now. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
He's a super huge, wealthy, like venture capitalist, and it's like a fortress. The Miami Beach house is like a fortress. He bought the piece of property next door too. I would love. I would do that in a second just to go in the house and meet Peter Thiel. To be honest with you, but uh, you know, because I'm in that computer world, that startup computer world, and he's an icon in it. Uh, so I doubt we'll be in that house. It would be an honor to go back to that house and
You never
him.
know, man. Money talks at the end of the day.
Yeah, but MTV and Paramount Plus, I don't think would put up Peter Thiel money to say, hey, get out of your house. We're gonna do an MTV trash the house scenario here, which maybe we won't do because we're all old and we're not in that trash the house scenario. But honestly, I think some of our castmates are in that mindset.
So I got a question for you. Lastly, here
Yeah.
though, say if like this does happen, like who would you say you would be most nervous to see?
Oh, I'm
Out of
not. I'm
all?
not nervous ever about anything.
No.
Not nervous at all. No.
All right.
No, it'd be a pleasure. Also, man, remember, I am a therapist, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's healing. I think it's cathartic to no matter what the issues were with any cast members for whatever reason, whether it's 25 years ago. What did we figure how many years ago it was? It's a lot of years ago. Oh my God, it's more than 25 years ago. And it's whatever the issues were back then. If we haven't moved on from them, that's like seriously, you got to move on and you got to let go. And I'm all about moving on and letting go. Letting go, number one, forgiveness, and moving on are super important to one's own health. It has hardly anything to do with the other person. It's moving on, and I got nothing but love for my roommates for whatever they've said, whatever they've done, whatever we've experienced, during, before, after whatever, I got nothing against anybody. And if they have something against me, that's their problem. It ain't mine, man. I forgive them. Let them have whatever they got against me.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm like, what are you suffering from that from? I feel bad for you
Yeah.
for whatever you're suffering. There's no need for anyone to deal with any of that. And that just adds to the difficulties in life that life already brings. Who needs that? Especially if they're not in my life on a daily basis. Who cares? What am I going to be affected by that for?